we're going to be making a tiny zombie brain cake. So I have my beautiful brain pink. I've got some red velvet cupcakes that I've cut up, so it's about a cupcake and a half. And we're going to get started. I'm just going to go ahead and place these pieces with a little buttercream in between. And really you can use any cake flavor, but I like the idea of making the insides of the brain nice and pink. Great for Halloween or for the season premiere of your favorite zombie themed show. There's several right now. But we're just gonna get a nice general kind of oval mounded shape going. If you're doing this in a full-size cake, you can always do 2 rounds, cut a section and squash them together, and then take the cut portions and put them on top, which is basically what I've done with my cupcakes here. You can just make it larger if you want a full-size cake to feed more people. I'm gonna quickly coat the outside, and then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator for a little bit, probably at least 30 minutes because this is a small one. If you're doing a full-size cake, you probably wanna go a little longer, just so it's nice and firm and it's easy to carve and shape up. Basically what we're gonna do is carve it into a nice brain shape with all those nooks and crannies, and then we're just gonna pipe directly on the cake to coat it once we get it the right shape. So I'm just gonna give it a nice rough crumb coating just to get the process started. All right, so it is nice and coated and ready for the fridge, and in a short while we'll start carving it into more of a brain shape. It's kind of looking like a lumpy pink Volkswagen Beetle at the moment. Right, so we're gonna work on our brain shape, and I'm just gonna start by shaving a little off the top. I'm just gonna keep working. And so if you look at images of a brain, it's a little narrower at the front, a little wider at the back, and a little taller at the back. So I'm just gonna give it a little quick shaping. And this is just a little quick mini cake, so no, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we just wanna get the kind of right general idea. A lot of times, with cake projects, if you get most of the way there, people's imaginations will do a lot of the work for you. Right? So I'm just gonna round up the front a tiny bit. Go along and just trim little bits, right? And the thing about carving is you can always take more away, but once it's gone, it is hard to add back. So just start with little areas. And the more you do projects like this, the more confident you'll get and the easier it'll get. So if it's your first time carving a cake, it's a pretty simple one to do. So it's a good one to start with because it's fairly forgiving. But you do want to be careful to get relatively the right shape. Right? So I'm just going to make a little indent underneath to give it the illusion that it's curving under and it's not just sitting flat on the surface. And since our little brains have hemispheres, I'm going to make a line down the center, and I'm just going to cut a V towards that line. And I'm going to do this all the way down the length. I'm going to try and do this at an angle so that you can see, right? And then when we pipe our little Corneli style swiggles in pink, it will give us the appearance of two hemispheres. So I started at the center, I worked my way back, and then I'm going to go ahead and work my way forward. Right, so we're kind of getting there with our shape. And as you can see, I've cut away a lot of the buttercream, so what I'm going to do is go over it again and shape it up again. And if you want to, you can even carve some definition, right? So if you're pulling up a picture of a brain, you can kind of carve in some of those hemispheres, those little lobes in different areas. You don't have to get too detailed, but you can give it as much or as little detail as you want. So I'm going to clear away some of the debris, and then I'm going to give my cake a nice light coating of buttercream. And once it's had a little bit to sit, I'm going to check it out and see if I want to do any additional carving before I go ahead and ice my cake. So we're going to go in and give it a quick crumb coating just to fill and cover up any exposed areas of cake. So we have our little brain shaped and crumb coated, and I'm going to start along this ridge for this lobe, and I'm just going to start piping some nice full squiggles. And you want a nice random puffy close-knit pattern of coils. So you want to give the buttercream room to flow freely out of the bag. And give you that lovely squiggly brain look. I'm just going to work on one half and then go back over the other. Beautiful. Finished one side up. I'll go back. In and do the other side. We go. Lovely little brain. We're going to cover it with some raspberry goo once it's had a time to set up, and we'll have our perfect little zombie brains for Halloween. So we're going to put the finishing touches on our little Halloween brain cake, and I just have some raspberry filling, and I'm going to go in and put in some gore. So just so it looks nice and kind of bloody, I'm going to take a little bit of that and tap it in some places. And it doesn't have to coat the whole thing, just so we get a nice kind of freshly ripped from the skull effect, which sounds very morbid when you say it out loud. Right? So I'm gonna let some pool and then just pipe some in that I can kind of use to coat the outside of the frosting. So this doesn't need to be exact, just kind of get it in there so there's a nice kind of glazed, shiny look on it. And that'll help the contrast stand out as well. So that side's looking nice. And go in and repeat the process on the other side. So just give it a little bit of that raspberry filling, let it drip and do its thing. And lightly kind of dab it into the nooks and crannies. That you've created. And it really helps to do this while the buttercream is firm so that you don't mess up all your little lines and wiggles. If it starts to warm up on you, you can pop it back in the fridge for a few minutes before you finish it up. And I always like to give just a little on the board. And then healthy dose down the center. Just kind of work that in. And then for some drama, a few little drippy globs. I think that is a beautiful gory brain, ready for Halloween, center stage at your dinner table.